Jaguar Wright has not been telling the truth. The storyline with Christopher Williams simply doesn't add up. Has Jaguar Wright been lying and embellishing for views? We're going to get into this straight game and see exactly what's been going on. Because something just ain't right.
Blackjack. Life is like some cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY, Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Do me a favor, click on the thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And like I always say, if you want to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of this straight game, please do me a favor and click on what appears to be that little bell notification right below this video. I'm going to get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, the young lady go by the name of Jaguar Wright, who's been on the internet, who's a former recording artist, recorded with various artists in her own right. I like to deal with facts. I like to deal with the nature of what it is. Jaguar Wright, for some time now, has been on the internet talking about various celebrities. She was in the industry. She did meet a lot of people. I'm not going to question the truthfulness of all of her stories. But what I am going to do is I'm going to question the truthfulness in regards to the Christopher Williams story that she had been pushing since the Sean Puffy Combs situation with Cassie had came out. And it seems to me that Jaguar Wright was not telling the truth. That Jaguar Wright was, from what the information that I've gathered, that Jaguar Wright has been embellishing, some would say lying, but the information that I'm going to present to you today will show you that she wasn't being totally honest, or didn't have the information that she claimed to have, or the information that she claimed to obtain from other people, other sources, is just a bunch of hearsay, if you will. Now, Christopher Williams, Jaguar Wright had alleged that Christopher Williams was somehow, some way caught giving Sean Puffy Combs fellatio for a record deal, right? And when Jaguar Wright speaks, she comes from this place of the all-knowing, the mysticism, and all of the trying to be convincing about what she's saying, right? And I'm coming here to tell you today that that simply is not the truth of the matter involving a Jaguar Wright, if you will. So when we talk about Christopher Williams, recently, Mr. Williams did an interview and addressing what Jaguar Wright had said in regards to him and about him. And what is real clear is Jaguar Wright had gave certain timelines in regards to when these alleged things that Christopher Williams giving Sean Puffy Combs fellatio had happened, and so on and so forth. It appears that the timelines do not match up. It appears that Sean Puffy Combs had nothing to do with Christopher Williams' career, and at that time really could not give Christopher Williams a record deal, if you will. And so when we talk about the facts, let's get into it. Christopher Williams, and I'm going to read here, basically came out recently and said, anybody who knows me knows that is ridiculous in regards to what Jaguar Wright had said in his interview. He also went on to note that the timelines outlined by Jaguar are inconsistent. And we know that when one is telling a story, one must be consistent in the timeline to be believable, right? It's not. One person in the world, Jaguar Wright, came out and alleges that I gave Puffy fellatio to get a record deal in like 92. He added, I came out as an artist in 89. I had a record deal in 1988. Boom. What Jaguar Wright said is not consistent. Christopher Williams was discovered by Andre Harrell, from what I understand. Also, Christopher Williams was signed to Geffen Records also, and Giant Records, right? Williams went on to say that the accusations of him being a homosexual are not what has him in the most disturbed. He alluded to the fact that he was coerced. Basically, he's mad about what Jaguar Wright saying that he was coerced to do something as part of getting a record deal, if you will, right? So he ain't even worried about her saying that he's gay or whatever. He's saying the way that the story that she concocted in regards to him trying to get a full record deal, as if, and that would be true, as if she was in his mind at that particular time. See, the problem I have with this is a lot of people come out and they talking about people. Jaguar Wright was born in 1977. At the approximate time that she alleged that this happened, Jaguar Wright would have been 11 years old. She would have been nowhere near and around up in the area of Christopher Williams, Sean Puffy Combs, Andre Harrell, or any situation involving that at that particular time. And Christopher Williams goes on to say, if I were gay, I would be openly gay. So again, that wasn't even the emphasis of it. It was the other stuff that was said around it, he added, right? So now, once again, people are out here saying anything. Now, to me, I've listened to Jaguar Wright. Her credibility is zero. She has no credibility now because, once again, there's no need to make up stories in regards to Christopher Williams. Christopher Williams is the nephew of Ella Fitzgerald. The great Ella Fitzgerald, the jazz singer, right? Christopher Williams also has 3 children. Christopher Williams had 3 record deals. I believe he was dealing with Uptown Records at one time, and that was through Andre Harrell. Puffy at that time was an intern. From my knowledge, Christopher Williams was never signed to Bad Boy. And I don't believe, I think Bad Boy probably was at that time moving, but Christopher Williams was doing well on his own. He had a couple of, R&B singles that were very, very popular. And he was in New Jack City, as we all know, from that perspective. So now, once again, the timeline in which Jaguar Wright says that Christopher Williams would have been doing this, at that time, Jaguar would have been 11 years old. She would have no knowledge of this. Basically creating some ghost character as to how she found out this information, and somebody walking in and allegedly finding them being engaged in something like that, and then claiming to know the reason as to why Christopher Williams would allegedly be involved in that. And like you just saw, Christopher Williams was like, the part that, she's saying all of the other stuff, it really didn't bother him, right? The part that he was more concerned about is that it was for a record deal or anything like that. And then basically going on to say, if I were gay, I would be openly gay. So again, that wasn't even the emphasis of it. It was the other stuff that was said around it, he added. So once again, when we talk about being consistent, being reliable, being truthful and honest, a lot of people are now on this internet just saying anything for views. It's shocking. But then when the truth comes out, it's rarely even covered. So it's like people are walking around and people are saying crazy things about people, and it's not even true. The timelines don't add up. They weren't around to see anything like that. Jaguar Wright, like I said, born in 1977, would have been approximately 11 years old. And I'm so glad that Christopher Williams had spoke out in regards to this situation, because I think it's very important, if you will, when we talk about that. And like I said, if we go a little bit deeper into it, you know what I mean? Basically, since Combs' house was raided, several people have come forward alleging horror stories, the horror, the salaciousness, I know something you don't know, and all of these other things, right? Horror stories of abuse by the Bad Boy founder. One of those people who came forward was singer Jaguar Wright, claiming, at 11 years old, when she said that this would have happened, that's how old she would have been, right? Wright's account of detailing Combs' abuse of the singer, who alleges that the New Jack City star Christopher Williams, who suffered abuse at the hands of the hip-hop mogul, but in a recent interview, the famed actor was quick to shut those claims down. You understand what I'm saying? So Christopher Williams basically shut it down and basically said that Jaguar claims at that particular time would have not been accurate based on the fact that at that particular time, one person in the world, like he said, one person in the world who alleges I gave Puffy Fellatio to get a record deal in like 92, he added, basically saying I came out as an artist in 89 and had a record deal in 88. So why would he be giving Puffy Fellatio? And so, like I said, these defaming and crazy accusations are just what they are. And you got people on the internet now basically just saying anything. I had to address this because, like I said, once again, when you find out the truth of the matter and people are basically throwing people's names under the bus for people to come and be like, you heard what Jaguar Wright said, as if they are the deity for information in regards to the music industry, right? When in fact, when you do the research and do the numbers and the math, it simply doesn't add up. The timeline doesn't add up. Christopher Williams came out and spoke against it. A lot of people don't come out and speak, against anything like that because they don't want to give it no air, if you will, and people will still continue to talk about it. But like Christopher Williams is the nephew of Ella Fitzgerald. I think that alone, and him being able to sing, going into a record label, say, yeah, Ella was my aunt. Oh, okay. You know what I mean? You got our attention. You know what I mean? And like I said, he said he had a record deal in 88, came out in 89. 90, 91, 92. But so in doing anything of that nature, then you think about New Jack City. I mean, he was on a roll, And so once again, it seems that the story that Jaguar Wright has been telling is not truthful, is not factual, and is done not for the gram, but for YouTube views and to once again garner attention and get people tuning into what she's saying. Like I said, with this story right here, for me, I don't know anything else that Jaguar Wright has done of any importance from that perspective, other than she's known more for being a gossip columnist, if you will, than anything that she's done musically from that perspective. So like I said, once again, whenever she can grab on to something that she allegedly knows or somebody allegedly told her, in which this story basically seemed like it was concocted from, we see now that is not the truth. Christopher Williams has spoken. No, like I said, if you do the research on him, he was signed with Giant Records, Uptown, dealing with Andre Harrell, and Geffen Records, if you will. Next thing, you're going to be hear about something about David Geffen and something like, we know who David Geffen is. David Geffen has always been openly gay, from that perspective, and like I said, sometimes people need to tread lightly on these stories because, they put themselves in the line of fire for a lawsuit from that perspective, but certain people, they just don't care and they'll just say anything, but like I said, it is what it is. But we know now Christopher Williams has spoken out, and we know that that's not the truth. Based on the timeline, based on the record labels that Christopher Williams actually was signed to, based on the fact that his auntie was Ella Fitzgerald, based on the fact that he was an actor and wanted a cult classic movie in New Jack City. And like I said, once again, the facts bear the brunt of this argument that no one can really, and like I said, this is not about attacking Jaguar Wright. Like I said, she basically came out with this information, got a lot of publicity for it, and we come to find out that the timeline that she alleges that somebody told her something about it isn't true. The fact of the matter, Jaguar Wright would have been 11 years old. So we know for a fact that she does not know anything about what she's talking about from personal experience or from a personal perspective. She was not there. This is borrowed information, and she would have been 11 years old at that particular time that she said that this allegedly happened. And so we know it's not true from that perspective. Unless you can bring somebody to the table to say, yeah, I was the person that seen it, or, because this thing, reliable information, Jay-Z, and, I told you it was this. A lot of the stuff Jaguar Wright is talking about is already public information. We know about the Jay-Z Aaliyah thing. We know about all of this Dame Dash. We know about all of that. Those things were known. You know what I mean? But like I said, the Christopher Williams story, basically from what Christopher Williams is saying, is not true. Your boy DELRAY, straight gang.